Hi, my name is Danielle Mello, and I am an environmental toxicologist. In this talk, I would like to share with you a little bit about what a science in the field of environmental toxicology, like me, do. Before I begin, let me ask you something. Did you know that we have in our bodies 30 to 50,000 chemicals that our grandparents didn't have? If you didn't know this information, I guess you might be asking yourself how this can be. Well, since 1950, over 140,000 human-made chemicals have been created. 5,000 of these are produced in such large scale that they have become widely spread in the environment. Most importantly, fewer than half of these highly produced chemicals, we have no idea about their safety or toxicity. Now let me ask you another question. Do you get the feeling that the number of people with conditions such as asthma, heart and lung diseases, brain disorders such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, birth defects, and cancer might be increasing? Well, unfortunately, it's not just a feeling. Scientists are finally putting pieces together and realizing that this increase in the amount of human-made chemicals in our body and the rise of these health issues that I just mentioned and others are not mere coincidences. A recent article published in a well-reputed scientific journal called The Lancet estimated that pollution is the largest environmental cause of disease and premature death in the world today. In 2015, for example, pollution killed 3 times more than AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria combined, and 15 times more than all wars and forms of violence in the same year. By sharing these alarming facts, I hope I was able to convince you the importance of understanding how all these chemicals that we are producing and releasing in the environment can affect our health and the health of our planet. And that is exactly the role of an environmental toxicologist. So we test different types of chemicals with different models, such as cells or animals, to see how toxic they can be and what are their effects. It may sound simple to you, but sometimes it can be quite a challenge to discover the possible toxic effects of a chemical. Let me give you an example. When we are feeling sick and we go to the doctor, depending on the symptoms, the doctor can't always for sure know what the problem is. So they can ask for blood samples. In some cases, the analysis done in the blood will help the doctor understand what is going on. In other cases, it won't. So he will ask for other types of exams until the cause of the sickness is revealed. In a similar way, we as environmental toxicologists have to do different types of analysis and exams in our test cells or animals to be sure of the toxicity effects, which takes a lot of time, effort, and money. And our challenge is even greater because, as I mentioned earlier, we can be exposed to thousands of human-made chemicals at the same time in our body. In other words, we are exposed to very complex mixtures of chemicals. So going back to our example with the doctor and the sick patient, if the patient is suffering from more than one condition or disease, this can confound the exam's results and it will be harder for the doctor to figure out the actual causes of the sickness. So you can imagine how much more difficult it is when we studying this are dealing with thousands of chemicals and their combinations, especially because under most laboratory conditions, we may be able to test only a handful of those chemicals and their possible mixture. So what we do? Should we just give up because we'll never be able to test all the chemicals that are out there and their combinations? Of course not. We environmental toxicologists will be continuing to do our jobs in the best way we can, but actually you can also have a very important part in all of this. For example, if you are in politics, you can act in favor of more strict regulations of releasing new chemicals into the market. If you own a company, you can either finance green initiatives or maybe use environmentally friendly approaches and products in most sectors of your company. If you own a restaurant, you can use as much fresh, pesticide-free products as possible. If you are a housekeeper, you can try to use more natural cleaning products. And if you are a mom, special care must be taken because chemicals that usually aren't very toxic can actually affect the development of your baby or child. For example, avoid using plastic products like baby bottles, sippy cups, and teething toys, especially the ones containing bisphenol A, also known as BPA, because they are particularly harmful at younger ages. And as for all of us, we cannot run away from being exposed to all these chemicals, right? So try to have healthy habits so that they can help us suffer less the toxic effects of all these chemicals out there. For example, eat fresh instead of processed food. Keep your body moving, don't be still for too long. Eat colorful fruits, especially the red or purple ones, which contain antioxidants. You may have heard of them or not. Antioxidants are well known to slow down aging, for example. And guess what? They can also prevent the toxicity effect of many chemicals. These are just a few examples of little things that all of us can do. And finally, if you are an environmental toxicologist like me, speak up. Communicate your findings to your family, friends, colleagues, neighbors, Twitter or Facebook followers, everyone. Because only if we are all aware and act together, we may be able to change the course of these otherwise toxic future. Thank you.